Hey, I had a couple people ask questions about the podcast, so I thought I would answer those. It's been running for over a year now, a year and a half, I guess. And so one of the questions was about the history. Another question was, can I be on it? One was about its frequency or regularity or irregularity, and what's coming next. So I'll answer those in that order. History of it is quite simple, really. One of my friends suggested that I do book reviews because I read a bunch of books, and she just said, you should do book reviews and record them as a video and just share kind of your thoughts. And I struggled with that for a bit to try to figure out, what my take was on books. And so what I did is I just committed to reviewing books that I enjoyed and then talked about what I enjoyed about them. They're not formal book reviews, I mean, they're not super detailed. They're just, these are the things off the top of my mind. Some of them really resonate in a way that I spend a lot of time unpacking them. Others just are quick, like, wow, it felt like, hearing my old friend tell a story, or, I mean, I don't think they're ever shorter than 2 minutes, but they're rarely longer than seven. So, anyway, that was the history of kind of where it started, and it really began as a challenge to myself. Like, could I do this on a regular basis? And I could. So I've been doing it weekly. I post on all social media, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and I used to do it on Twitter, and then TikTok became a thing, so I started sharing them on there as well. Um, and then at a certain point, I thought, I wonder what a formal podcast is like, and I've always wanted to have one of those. So, but I didn't have anyone to like guest host and talk with, and I didn't feel like just me talking would be that interesting. And So I just started kind of compiling episodes built from the reviews I had previously done. And so some of those podcasts, the majority of the podcasts are that. It'll be like 3 or 4 or 5 book reviews that I did, kind of strung together. Um, Sometimes thematically, sometimes just based on, what was available at the time that I was recording it. So that's kind of the history on it. Can you be on it? Yes. As you've seen, some of the podcasts are me talking to somebody else. And what I've done is I've just invited friends or kind of whoever to recommend a book. And my requirements are it needs to be a book you haven't read. So we're both reading it fresh, and it can't be one that we've talked about. So our conversation is organic, and it just kind of is what it is. It's just two people chatting about a book that they read. Generally, I try to keep things positive because I do think it is very easy to tear things down. And I'm not interested in tearing somebody apart just because their work didn't resonate with me. There are lots of books out there for lots of different people. Not all of them will connect with me, but I can almost always find something positive to say about whatever somebody has chosen. So part of what I love is having somebody else pick a book, introduce me to genres that I never would have encountered otherwise. And it's kind of a glimpse inside their world. What do they read? Which is often different than what I do. So, when I ended up reading a fantasy cozy, which was something I'd never heard of before, with Bill Gibson from fine print bookstores in Celine, that was not a book that ever would have crossed my radar. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was a wonderful chat. My friend Mike Lee chose a book that dealt with policing, and just it was really interesting also. So it was really journalism, I guess, but policing was an important part of that story. And those were interesting books to do. And so, yeah, if you have a book that you've been waiting to read and you want an excuse and you want someone to talk to, that's me. Let me know. I'll buy a copy. I read quick, and I'm interested in kind of whatever you throw my way. The irregularity of the podcast, I assume, is what they're talking about. So if you get it through Spotify or Apple Music or um, Apple Music. Oh, I meant Amazon. So Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, whatever, any of those podcast platforms. Yeah, I haven't really done a compilation podcast in a while that I've released that way. Um, the other ones continue to come out weekly. on the social media things. YouTube is probably the most reliable one that has all of them, and then then there's the video that goes along with it. I guess if you like that or not. Sometimes I play those YouTube, um, I don't know, vlog or podcasts, whatever you want to call them, in the background while I'm doing other stuff, and I don't watch the video. I just listen, to what other people are saying. So anyway, yeah, I don't know that the formal podcast part of it is going to become as regular, unless I get a lot of interest in people wanting to have conversations. Because it takes a while to, stockpile 3 to 5 book reviews to string together into an episode to then put out into the world. So it'll probably be a fairly irregular publication that way. But again, YouTube, social media, you can find it on the regular basis. Um, and then last question was what's next or what's coming, right? So kind of more of the same. I'm hoping to do more conversations with people. So I've reached out to some other family and friends who I know are readers and challenged them to pick books. I have at least 2 on the calendar to record. Haven't recorded them yet. Almost done with the first book that I promised to do with that conversation. So yeah, they'll be coming, and you can keep counting on the weekly reviews because I do enjoy those. If you're ever interested in what I'm reading, if you go to my webpage, michaelmcbride.com/reading, or click on reading list when you get there, you will see that I read a lot of books, and obviously I only review 52 of them a year. So I do cherry pick the ones that are most interesting to me to spend time on. But if you want to see some of the other things I've read, certainly. And if you want to hit me with any questions about them, I'm always happy to talk books. So yeah. And again, if you want to join, send me a message. Lots of ways to do that through my webpage or social media platforms or any of those things. So thanks for listening. Have a good one. Bye.